Welcome back to the SSL Family Dad channel. Today I have something pretty exciting to update you guys on, or show you guys in the garden out here in the greenhouse. So we've got the year-round heated grow tunnel, I guess we'll call it. That seems to be a pretty fitting name. And about 30 days ago, it's actually been just over 30 days now, but about 30 days ago, I planted out this whole thing from seed and took you guys along for that using our little seed spacing template, kind of a square foot gardening method. Planted a bunch of different stuff in here, and I have been just blown away at how well things have been growing in here. So we are in April here in Michigan. This grew all throughout March. We had plenty of days that were in the 20s at night, and of course, daytime temperatures have ranged anywhere from the 30s all the way up to 65 yesterday, and today is about 65 also. And so with the controlled temperature in here overnight, with that heater running, it has kept everything growing really well. So I'm going to take you guys into the garden. We'll check it out and see how well things are doing, and we'll talk a little bit about weeding and thinning out plants, things like that. All right, so looking down the line here, we've got our carrots. This is at the coolest end of the bed, so the heater's all the way at the other end of it. Just looking down the line here, got the heater way down there at the other end. And everything has been growing so well in here. I'm just blown away. Radishes are a really quick growing thing also. They're generally a 45-day harvest from planting. And you can see, I mean, these are already past harvest time. This could have been harvested a week ago. There's so many of them in here. They're nice. Oh, this is a good one. That's a good size right there. The younger they are, I think the better they are, in my opinion. But some of them a little bit close together here. But nice, beautiful little radishes. Look at the greens on those things. Just everything looks so nice and big and healthy. Carrots, those are getting thinned out today a little bit. Carrots are a little tricky because they're hard to thin out when they're really young. But I like to come through and I'll use some scissors and we'll cut out these little patches. But you can see the square foot garden method works pretty good with carrots. We've got pretty clear lines here, except for I must have spilled some seed in this little patch. Weeding becomes real easy because you can tell very easily where the carrots are and where they are not. And once they grow up just a little bit, you can pretty easily just come in and weed them. Now, what I do with weeding is always the biggest challenge when you're gardening. I use all natural compost and manure and things like that in here, and so you're going to end up with weeds. That's just part of it. We're not using fertilizers. We're not using any junk. We're using all natural things, and so weeding is part of life. But what I do is I come out here every day, and maybe I spend 10 minutes. Just come through, pick out a few weeds. Just walk down the beds, check everything out. Maybe after I water, something like that. Just come through and pick a few weeds out. Do that 10 minutes a day, maybe 15 minutes a day, and you're never going to have too big of a problem with weeds, even in a raised bed this size. See our lettuce here. This is all ready to be harvested. It's actually wilting a little bit because it's so hot in here today, and so I like to harvest it when it's cool. So this will be best harvested later tonight or first thing tomorrow morning. The sugar content seems to be a little bit higher in the lettuce when you harvest it real early in cooler weather. Last couple days have been really warm, and so that's affected it a little bit, but this has just grown so thick. It's actually spilled out of its area, this kind of square foot area that runs along right here, and it's kind of spilling over into the cabbage area. So we'll harvest this, we'll cut this all back, and then that will regrow. But as far as lettuce goes, this stuff is so good. I've been eating it out here just about every day, and it's not bitter. It's very sweet. It tastes really good. It tastes way better than stuff we bought at the store, that's for sure. So these two crops are the quickest growing in that 30-day period. So we've got the radishes and lettuce. These were ready for harvest. I could have been harvesting this lettuce for the last 2 weeks. So in half that time, even in 14 days, we were able to start having a salad every day. With these radishes, I could have started harvesting those at least 2 weeks ago also, smaller radishes, and then they just get bigger and bigger as you harvest them. We've got our cabbage here. Those are long season crops, so as we cut the lettuce back, and this will grow up and take up a lot more space in here, and the lettuce will be bolting and things like that once the weather gets hotter anyway, and then the cabbage will take over this area, and then those will grow out into some nice heads of cabbage hopefully. And again, we've got 3 more crops here that are a good 30-day crop, right? We've got kale. Now this kale is real small, but kale is extremely prolific, and it will continue growing. It'll keep growing back, and you could take a couple leaves off of each one of these plants, every few days, and it's not going to hurt it too much, even at this age. We could take a leaf off of this plant and 1 or 2 of those, throw it in a salad, and you just continue to do that. And kale will continue to grow up higher and higher and higher, You can cut it right off at the top, and then it will start sprouting out of the bottom again. I mean, this stuff will continue to grow for you and produce continually. Same with Swiss chard. Swiss chard's a real prolific grower also, and it grows very quickly. And so again, in 30 days, we could easily start harvesting this, just small leaves at a time. We've got the different colors here, yellow and red. And in another 2 weeks, this will be doubled in size, and you could harvest just about as much as you could eat off of this thing almost every day off of this much growth here. So each one of these sections that we're showing, each one of these varieties is 1 square foot wide, and then it's about 4, a little less than that, about 4 feet this way. So we've got 4 squares, foot squares, going in each row here. For Swiss chard, there's 4 per square. And you can see weeding really hasn't been an issue. I mean, we've got little weeds here and there we need to come through and pull out, but this is real easy. And it's not something I need to spend, 3 hours out here doing. Got pak choi, and this is, you can see how big this is. And again, 30 days. We're talking about, you could easily start harvesting this stuff off, using it in salads and whatever you want. And this stuff will continue to grow. It's a cut and come again kind of thing. And we'll easily be able to start using that. This stuff will grow very quickly and very large from here on out. And then everything else down the row still has time before harvest. But our 30 days is pretty close to a harvest on beans. So I would say that we might have 2 more weeks with these beans until we have something that we could start harvesting. These have not flowered yet, but you can see they're getting really close. And so we'll start getting some flowers on all these. And then once these things start producing, this section of beans, which is actually, this section is 2 square feet wide, and then the 4. So there's quite a bit of beans in there. And I think there was 6 per square foot. And so we're going to have a whole lot of beans growing in here. And so you could continually harvest these for meals every day or every couple days, and you'd almost never run out of beans until these die off. And just towards the middle of the bed here, we have all of our potatoes. Now, these were potatoes that we grew last year. We saved the potatoes, in our basement in boxes, and we used a bunch of them, of course, and then saved some for seed. And so these are our own potatoes, I guess, that we're kind of sustainably replanting. Had a few that didn't pop up. I think there were either maybe 1 or 2 in this area that didn't come up, and I think there was 1 on the other side that didn't come up. But other than that, they grew pretty well, and these will fill in, and we'll just get more potatoes in that area. It's no big deal. So these are growing really, really well. And we have all of our, down at this end, we have all the tomatoes and peppers, and in the back corner we have an eggplant. Now, these are all of your longest germination rate stuff and also your longest season stuff. So tomatoes obviously aren't going to grow in 30 days and produce fruit, neither are peppers. In fact, you'd be lucky if you get a pepper plant, whether they're banana peppers or bell peppers or whatever kind of pepper you're growing. You'll be lucky if you get them to germinate sometimes in 4 weeks inside, unless you have real good heat for them. And I think that's been the advantage out here. All these peppers, this is growing taller than the ones that I started inside 4 weeks or 6 weeks prior to this. So these have grown really well. I've got kind of a line of them down there. You can see the peppers. And so those will be a long season thing. Those will grow in here, nice hot weather thing, and they'll grow really well. We have, I did let this dry out at this end a couple days, which has been an issue. This end of the bed, because it's near the heater, does dry out quite a bit faster. And so I really need to get in here and make sure this is watered better. You can see even right here, this soil is pretty dry. So you can see some of the tomatoes here curling a little bit because of that. They need to stay real wet, especially in this heat. So the greenhouse can get up to 100 degrees. Today it's 65 outside, and even with the doors open in here, it stays well above 80 or 90 in here most of the day when the sun's out. So I gotta do a better job of keeping this watered. But these tomatoes have done really well. I do have some thinning to do still. I've got some double plants in spots. We'll cut those out. Some of these peppers that are kind of away from a seed washed over here or something, and so I'm not going to just discard that. This is took 4 weeks to grow, so we'll pop that out and put it in a little pot. This one right here, I think this is far enough away from the other one that I can probably pull this one out and save it and put it in a separate pot anyway. And so there's no sense in just killing these things. They've taken so long to germinate and grow. We can get a good head start on some of our outdoor garden stuff. 2 different kinds of tomatoes growing in here, but both of them did extremely well. And I even think that I have some of the eggplant growing. So I'm pretty sure over there that is an eggplant. And I think that should be pretty cool to see. I think there's another one sprouting right over there. So far the eggplant has been the last to sprout and the slowest to grow. 30 days of growth right there and one tiny little seedling. So, but those are a long season thing. Those are 120-day or 150-day crop anyway. For those of you guys who have not seen the other videos, there's a heating radiator at this end of the bed that is hooked up to a hot water wood boiler on the outside of the greenhouse. I have previous videos on all that. Click on the little eye in the upper right-hand corner of your screen and you can link to some of those. But this is what heats this at night using a little thermostat outlet. So if it drops down below 35, this will heat up keep the bed from frosting. So we don't have any frost in here overnight. And then during the day, I come out and I roll these sides up on each side and just let it air out in there and let the natural sun and heat from the greenhouse take care of the rest. So in just 30 days, today we're a little over 30 days, I think we're at 35 days, but 30-day garden. This is pretty much what we're at for 30 days, and that is from the point of seeds in the ground to producing food. And we talk about sustainability and we talk about, you know, emergency preparedness long-term and homesteading, other types of things like that. To me, this has been the biggest success that I have personally had with growing a garden, especially in March. You know, this was grown through the month of March in Michigan. So I'm pretty excited about what the next 30 days will hold. So we'll do 30-day updates on this garden. You guys have seen it from the very beginning. You guys have seen every single step of building this garden and producing food from it. And maybe we'll even do some kitchen stuff and eating some of it, which will be fun. And so how long is it going to take for us to get a tomato? Will it be 90 days? Will it be 120 days? What will it be? It'll be interesting to see how well we can keep this cool now that daytime temperatures are starting to get hotter. I think my biggest issue is going to be these cool weather crops are going to start to bolt because we've got real hot daytime temperatures. And so I'm going to have to deal with that. Of course, my radishes, they're ready to harvest. I need to pluck those out. Some of those will get fed as treats to our horses and our goats. And some of those will end up in food for us as well. I just don't know if I can eat about 100 radishes in a week, so we'll see what we do with those. Any good radish recipes out there for anybody that any ideas? I'd take them. So I'm going to be doing a video, a Gardening 101 video on composting very soon. But one of the comments I got about our soil mix here was that manure compost isn't a great source of all the nutrients needed. And I can tell you, I mean, obviously from just this experiment and growing in almost pure compost, the only thing that's in here is a little bit of peat moss. I think there's about the equivalent of 1 bag of peat moss, like 3 cubic feet, throughout this whole entire bed, 25 feet long, 4 feet wide, 18 inches deep. So that compost and the soil that's in here is not just from one source. You never want to have a monoculture where you have just one source of nutrients or one source of compost. The more sources you can get that compost from, or those organic materials that go into the compost, the better off you're going to be. We use goat manure, we have pig manure, we have straw, we have wood chips, we have chicken manures and egg shells, and we have kitchen byproducts. We have leaves from our yard, some grass clippings, and what else is in there? Rabbit manures from our daughter's rabbit business that she had going there. All kinds of different things that we put in there, and some of our native soil gets mixed in there too when I'm flipping things and scratching things and picking things up with the tractor. But this is a very hot, you'd consider it, nitrogen-rich compost, and so far it has been doing an amazing job growing these vegetables extremely quickly. The germination rates here and the speed of germination, you know, did really well, and that warmth, you know, whenever you're talking about germinating seeds, heat is one of the biggest factors. Heat and moisture. The soil doesn't even really matter when you're germinating seeds. I mean, you can germinate seeds in just about any medium as long as you have heat and water. And those two things coupled together will give you a really fast germination rate. And so the water tubing, you know, running through this bed, keeping that soil temperature always above 70 degrees and even in our 20-degree temperatures at nighttime. And then, of course, the warm temperatures during the day in the greenhouse here. So real happy with how things are going. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the update. Of course, subscribe if this is your first time to the SSL Family Dad channel. Lots of gardening and other homesteady, farming and animal type things, DIY construction projects and whatever else you can think of that we could possibly do around here and drag a camera along. So hope to see you guys around for those things. Don't forget to hit thumbs up on the video as always, and thanks for watching. Have a good one.